When you exit Manage Database for the first time, FileMaker places you in Browse mode. This is the mode that allows you to enter data such as creating records or editing fields. Now there are 4 different types of modes: Browse, Find, Layout, and Preview, but we're going to spend our time on Browse mode right now, and later on we'll go over the different modes. So when you exit out of Manage Database, FileMaker makes it real easy as we've shown. It creates one record for you, creates a layout, and puts all the fields on there. Now we've already done some data entry. We have 2 records here already. So let's go ahead and delete those records. You can find the Delete Record option underneath the Records menu. It'll come up and warn you that you're going to permanently delete this record. So we'll hit delete, that's okay, and then we'll delete again. So to get us back to where we were when we first exited Manage Database, we'd have to go up and create one new record. And you can see that the first thing that happens is it fills in your housekeeping fields. You have your creation timestamp, and your modification timestamp just happens to be the same. And it puts your cursor into the first field. Now if it wasn't in there, you'd look like this, and it'd be hard to see where the data was, where you were going to type into. And just from my experience in databases, I know that the fields are just to the right of the field labels, and we can click there. And when you click into it, your cursor goes into that field. You have a black line around the field you're in to make it stand out, and then you have a dotted line around the rest of the fields. This is so you can see where those fields are. Now later on we're going to show you how to put some more interface on this so it's obvious where the fields are. But for right now we'll have to work with this, and it's good because you can see what the options are for FileMaker as far as making the field stand out. But really a better option is to develop your interface skills so you can make those fields pop out on the screen so people know where to click. So when your cursor's inside of a field and it's blinking in there, you can type into that. It's like a mini word processor. You can do just about anything you want inside of a text field as if it was a word processor. So your basic thing will be typing. So we'll type in a company name, and then to go down to the next field we simply click. Just move your mouse over there and click, and we'll type in the next value. Now if you don't want to touch the mouse and you're a keyboard person, all you have to do is hit the tab key, and that will go to the next field in the tab order, and we'll cover how to change your tab order later on as well. And then we just start typing. We'll hit the tab key again, there we go, and you notice that our address to field is not on the layout. Remember that we deleted it and we had turned off that option in preferences to automatically add fields, so we'll have to add it back to the layout in later sections here. So we'll tab down, and let's say we accidentally tab twice. When we're down into the state field, if you want to go back, you could use the mouse, or you could hold the shift key down and type tab, and that will go backwards through the tab order. And then we can type again, and then we'll tab, type in California, tab again, type in the zip code, and you got to remember it's just like a mini word processor. So you can use the arrow keys to move your cursor around wherever you want and type a different value. You can hit the delete or backspace key. You can use your mouse to move the cursor, put it wherever you want it. You can highlight if you want, highlight just portions and type over them, or you can highlight the whole thing and start over from scratch. It's up to you. It's just like a mini word processor, each one of these fields. So let's tab down to the next one. We'll type in a phone number, and then we'll tab down and type in an email address, and then type in a date of birth. Now an interesting thing about FileMaker is that if you type in a 2-digit year, it's going to go ahead and figure out what that is and put in the 4-digit. And it's pretty good about guessing. There's an algorithm inside there that makes it figure out what's going on. Now I do want to point something out. If you saw this happen, the modification timestamp updated. You can see it's different than the creation timestamp now. And that happens when you modify the record. So if I come in here and even if I modify it to the same value, as soon as I exit out of that record by clicking over here where there are no fields, you notice that it updates. But if I modify it and then tab, notice that it hasn't updated as I've changed each field. It's only when I change the record. And so it's really, as soon as I exit out, and I can do as many changes as I want. And another way to exit out of the record is to click out here. The other way to do it is to hit the enter key on the keypad. And you can see how it will update that only when you exit the record. Now another way to exit the record is to simply go to another record, which we're going to do. That will also update that timestamp mod. So let's go and create a new record, see how it works. Right under the records menu, new record, or the keyboard command, Command N, or Apple N, or in Windows, Control N. Puts you in the first field in the tab order. You can see you have 2 records here. We can always go back to the other record if we want. Just use the Rolodex. But we'll come in here and type in some values. So we'll type in IDA, tab, Axelude, and there's information there. Now again, watch this. You notice that as we tab through here and type in information, it's not updating that timestamp in the modification, but if I click out here, then it updates. So we'll go through and fill out the rest of this. Okay, so we've got 2 records in the database, and what we're going to do in the next section is really go over and put some data into the database, because I don't want to type in a bunch of records, and really you need some records in this database to work with everything we're going to do. We're going to be sorting and finding and manipulating data, and we really need some information in here. I just don't want to type it all in. So you'll want to make sure you look at the work files to find the file I'm going to be covering in the next section. It's called names.fp7.